Yeah, it's Central Pass.
I think
We're good.
Ready? Okay. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Town of Lake Clark Shores Town Council meeting for February 11th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Mayor Gregory Freebold,
Here.
Vice Mayor John Maples,
Here.
President Pro Tem Bridget Keating,
Present.
Councilmember Taylor Materio,
Here.
Councilmember Christy Mossbach.
Here.
Father Peter, good evening. You come up and lead us and pledge allegiance in prayer. Thank you. You are Father, sir. You choose. I would say, give us some words of wisdom.
Let's pray first. Oh, Heavenly Father, we thank Thee for this day and for the opportunity to come together to discuss matters important to our community. We ask for Your guidance and wisdom. Thou art the source of all knowledge and understanding. Therefore, we seek Thy direction in our decision-making process. Help us to listen attentively to each other with open hearts and minds. May we not be quick to judge or criticize, but instead seek to understand different perspectives. We pray that Thou will give us the discernment to make the best decisions for the greater good. We trust that Thou will guide us on this path and lead us to reach a consensus that reflects Thy will. May our words and actions be guided by Thy love and grace. May Thy Holy Spirit enlighten us and guide us in all things, both here this evening and throughout our lives. Amen.
Father, before we do the pledge of allegiance, forgive me. I see that we do have one item on here for a moment of silence, and this is for Mike Hallenbach, who passed on 2/1/2025. Lord have mercy. That's Damon Gammon's stepbrother. So if we could just please have a moment. May his memory be eternal. Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the
United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father Peter.
Thank you, Father.
Okay, we will begin with audience comments. Tim, come on up. I have your card here.
Tim Daughtry, 1410 Keller Road. First item I'd like to discuss is the bridge. So based on the schedule that was presented to us by the contractor, they are several weeks behind. I go by there all the time and I see a pronounced lack of staffing and I see a pronounced lack of progress. And I only see them as getting further and further and further behind with the lack of manpower they have on the job. So this is an issue that concerns me because we originally talked about a 3-month project, then we talked about a 6-month project. Now we're looking at I think it's 9 or 10-month project as the schedule set up, okay? This is a terrible inconvenience for people at the head of the lake. It's an inconvenience for me, but not as much as some of the people up on Venetian at the head of the lake, okay? I can go easily out 17th Avenue and 8th Street to get on 95 fairly easily. But it concerns me. It continues to concern me. Project Management 101, there should be somebody on the phone to whoever's handling this job at 6 o'clock in the morning asking, how many people are you going to have on the job and what are you going to accomplish today? Somebody needs to be there at 9 o'clock to see that that staffing is there and they're working on what they say they're going to be working. And somebody needs to stop by at 3 o'clock to make sure that people aren't drifting off that job and going to other jobs. It's just basic project management. Just basic project management. And we need to get a handle on this. We really do. Okay, they're getting behind and they're continuing to get further behind. Okay. Paving, Pine Tree. Okay, Edgewater project is almost done, which is not even ours, that's the county. Those roads were nowhere near as bad as Pine Tree is, nowhere near as bad. And they've been resurfaced by the county. When are we going to make it a priority of us to move forward and get those roads done? Okay. We keep saying we're going to delay till after the bridge is done. But like I said, the bridge is getting behind. How much more are we going to inconvenience our residents as to fixing the roads? They just haven't been maintained, and they haven't been maintained for almost my entire time in this community, which is over 20 years now. We did do a slurry cover, I believe in 2006, maybe 2007, which was just a Band-Aid at that point in time. We used to maintain our roads. We need to maintain our roads. We need to maintain our roads. It's a depreciating asset when we don't maintain our roads. It gets worse and worse, and it costs us more and more all the time, and terrible inconvenience to our residents. So thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Do we have any other audience comments? Yes, sir. Come right up.
Jim Boger, 7710 Beta Circle. This kind of ties into the bridge a little bit too. I live on the water back in Beta Circle, and I've been to a meeting in the past complaining about the jet skiers. This was 3 or 4 years ago. The jet ski now is out of control. There's 100 guys going by at 100 miles an hour all hours of the day. I saw 30 guys go by today at 60 miles an hour on a Tuesday. Somebody's gonna get hurt back there. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And I'm afraid it's gonna be kids on a boat, my kids, getting hit by a jet ski going 80 miles an hour. And that's not gonna be good. So what can we do to make that stop? What are the options, I guess?
We're working on getting somebody who's dedicated enforcement on the boat. They have to go through special training. So I agree with you. Listen, we've had many close calls back there. I'm on the water a lot, and they're out of control in several different areas. So we are aware.
I mean, the signs are small. The
Yep.
signs are small. They don't care that the signs are there, in my opinion.
Yeah,
Are you talking on the main lake or are you talking?
I'm talking about the back
he's
canal.
talking about
Backside.
Keller
Main lake,
Canal
they
back
used to run
there.
through there top
Oh,
speed
so now
because
they're back
the
there.
bridge is closed. So now they got to rip through the back. And it is out of control. I saw 3 or 4 guys go by at night at 60 miles an hour in jet skis.
Yeah.
And my kid's on the boat. I got a 16-year-old, and he's on the boat with his friends and following the rules, and he's gonna get clipped one day, and it's.
I hear you. I agree.
And yeah, it's what, I mean, the water cop, I mean, what's the training timeline to get a water cop qualified to get on the water? Is it like 4
Chief,
months?
well, there's a certification that they do through the sheriff's department, right?
Right.
So go ahead. Yes, ma'am.
I'm
Go.
waiting for the sheriff's office to get back to me. We've already reached out to them probably over 2 months ago.
Right.
It's just a matter of when they have a training and they allow us to send usually whatever we ask. And we have a few that are interested that said that they would go. And as soon as they have that availability, we'll send them.
Is there an option for mutual aid from like SO or from Florida Freshwater Management to?
I don't think you'll find it from South Florida Water Management District, maybe the sheriff's
Okay.
office, but I know they're out on Lake Osborne, but
Yes.
their boat can't make it back here.
But it sounds like this is a priority safety wise. So is there something that we could emphasize to the sheriff? It's not just that we want to do it. This is something that's, I mean, I see them, they used to be on the main lake.
They're going that fast in the canal.
No, they're bad.
Yeah.
But at night is even worse. I'm back.
I mean, having this meeting and talking about a boat full of kids got hit by a jet ski going 60 miles an hour is going to be a bad meeting.
Unfortunately,
So whatever we got to do. I mean, I don't know what I mean, is there a way to put a camera back there and get FL numbers and send them a ticket for $400 in the mail? I mean,
Can't.
there's a lot of things.
I was gonna say, that's an attorney question.
Can I give you my card and we'll have, you can call me and we'll discuss it with the chief. Because there's a lot of details.
And we agree with you,
We
and we
agree.
are aware, and
And
we
we're
are
working
working on it.
And I'm not on social media, but I was talking to my friend who lives on the north side of Forest Hill, and he said that the social media chatter has been pretty hot about the jet ski activity.
Well, there's already been a couple of accidents. So with each other on the jet skis and
That's the
one
best
running
case
into a
scenario.
boat.
See each other is the best case scenario.
Oh, that's occurred. So sometimes they're out of control.
No,
So-
sometimes. Thank you.
Thank
No,
you.
Thank you, sir.
Any other audience comments? Come right up, Maurice. Come on up.
My name is Maury Licker. I live at 8415 West Lake. And I've spoken to Joe about this, about putting in a barrier there or something to slow down traffic. There's a speed thing in front of my house. All it does is tell them how fast they're going. It does not slow them down. I know with Pine Tree closed down, the traffic is a lot more. I walk my dog every night around 7 o'clock. Twice last year, I had to jump into the grass or got hit. And there is no way of slowing these guys down except putting something in there. That sign just tells you how fast you're going. Guys go doing it 30 and 35 miles an hour before they get to Bob Shalhoub's house. And coming the other way, it's even worse because they're already doing 20, 25 miles an hour when they come around the curve up to the stop sign. So I'd like to, I've already spoken to, you sent me a beautiful thing, which I'm sure cost a fortune. Didn't tell me anything I needed to know about putting a hump down there and slowing down traffic. I've been walking those dogs for about 15 years. I've seen a police car come down that once in 15 years. Isn't there any way we can control traffic with radar traps or thing? I mean, I've been here 26 years and we used to have police out there with radar guns, and the one guy I'm told is retired, a big husky guy, used to ride the motorcycle. Bill, he was giving out tickets left, right, and center, and all of a sudden people start stopping at stop signs. Speed was reduced. That's long gone. It's dangerous to live on Westlake. And as you know, last year when the truck hit the golf cart and put 4 people in the hospital.
Yeah.
What are we doing about it?
Right, we've got enforcement going on. I'm just looking
Yeah,
through the
we've been-
report to
we've
see.
We've been doing enforcement and.
Tickets been
written
handed
numerous
out.
Warnings, and we've written citations.
Where?
And by your house, we also have a speed database sign there. So we're going to do a percentage and see what the percentage is. Last time we checked, it was about 95% of the people were complying with the speed limit. And if you look at the sign, I think from where you live, you can look at the sign and see how fast the vehicles
I
are
see them
going.
every night.
But we've had the officers down there and they.
When?
Well, in the evening and in the morning,
Between
when
7 and
people are coming
7:30.
and going, there is an increase in traffic because of Pine Tree.
Right.
So we
Agreed.
understand that. But
I agree with that.
I think we did over 85 traffic stops in that area. And we wrote 78 warnings, 7 criminal and non-criminal citations, 3. So we have
Well, whatever
we
you're
have been doing
it's not
enforcement
working.
down there.
It's not working.
Mary,
It's not safe to walk your dog on that stretch. Even with the flashlight and everything, shining it in their face. Some of them I can reach out and touch them, not including the 2 that I jumped into the grass in.
There are a lot, I see a lot that are excessive. I know
Just-
25, 30 is, it seems like it's not fast, but it is fast when you're walking. And I've seen them where they're flying by me and I know they're going 35 plus.
I can see it on the sign.
No, I don't have to see it on, I've been in public
And
safety. I
also-
can tell that they're going way too fast. And I watch out, I go early in the morning and late at night and I see all the walkers and the riders and I'm always cognizant of where they're at. So I almost drive down the middle most of the time just to get them the right of way.
Okay, and
So-
also back at the picnic about 6 months ago, I spoke to you about putting up a sign like they have on Pine Tree to allow 3 feet of distance for pedestrians. You said you're going to get on it?
Well, I don't know if you spoke with me, but I've talked to Joe about it. We're limited on the ability to do it. Correct me if I'm
Well,
wrong.
they said if there's too many signs, they wouldn't do it. There
No,
are no
It's-
signs
it's
on my stretch except that speed sign.
It's expanding the road. You,
Murray's asked, we have official policy now. So
Mhm.
Murray's asked, he petitioned the town to ask us to look at the section of town on Pine Tree. So we're gonna, Westlake, I'm sorry. We're gonna start the process. He's gonna be the first one. We approved this in 23. We have a staff committee that we're gonna analyze the issue. We'll get back to you, but he's just starting the process, asking for traffic calming devices. So we're gonna look at to see if what we can do to help you.
We also have Officer Manic can get you a vest, so a reflective vest to wear at night when you walk your dog.
All that means is they're gonna see me before they hit me. They don't.
I hope that's not the case, Maurice. I hope that's not the case.
We'll slow them down. Nothing else.
We'll work on it. Any other audience comments? Have any written comments or anything emailed in or?
Yes, there's just a comment online from Casey or Pat Boyer, I think. It says, we very much need more signs.
Need more what?
Signs.
Oh,
Yeah, in reference to his comments.
okay. Any other questions?
No.
Any
So-
other?
Joe, is there any signs looking to, as far as walk for pedestrians? I've seen on Pine Tree where it says, pedestrians need to be 3 feet. I don't see any signs just making people aware of the pedestrians in walk, running, bicycling.
We are still looking into the legality of that sign.
Okay.
And just to follow up, Joe, is that the traffic calming process that we approved? There's part of that process looking at signs and the police radar that they've got there, as well as all that part of the process. So
Yes.
all of that data is compiled and you kind of bring that to us so we can make a decision.
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Anybody else? Everybody's good? Okay. Have a motion for approval of agenda.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion for consent.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Carries. Okay, we have a presentation. We're going to be swearing in Assistant Chief David England. Mr. Scheck, good evening, sir. How are you tonight?
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Thank you very much. Doing very well tonight. Thank you.
Good. Glad to hear it.
If you would raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, David England,
Being a citizen of the United States
being a citizen of the United States
and a resident of the state of Florida,
and a resident of the state of Florida,
and being an employee of the town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida,
and being an employee of the town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida,
and a recipient of public funds as such employee,
and a recipient of public funds and as such employee,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution
that I will support the Constitution
and laws of the United States
and laws of the United States
and of the state of Florida
and of the state of Florida,
and of the charter of the town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida.
and of the charter of the town of Lake Clark Shores, Florida.
Congratulations.
Hold on, no, wait a minute. Joe's requested that you get a picture with the council.
Hit the camera, I'm assuming.
So now everybody sees the new chief of police. If you can't get to Wes, get to him and tell him, speeding. Take pictures, get license plates. I'm serious as a heart attack. That's why, I agree with you. That's the only way it's gonna work, is if we get them there. The jet skiers, the whole 9 yards.
That used to be in the middle.
Chief?
Mary.
Mary, has he signed a copy yet?
He probably did earlier for his records.
Did they tell you the job for chief?
Hey guys, getting out of this. Come on. Where's Manic? Manic, let's go, Manic. No, no, no. You have to scoot back.
They don't like each other.
Have
you signed a copy of it yet? I have. Okay,
Okay.
I'll give you this copy if you don't mind filling it in and then give it to Mary. Oh, you're welcome.
Okay.
Can I have your pen?
Just a little bit about coaching. Assistant Chief England. He was at least 30 years, 29 years in Jupiter.
27 at Jupiter and 5 with the Largo Police Department, so a total of 31.
And he was, last 5 years, he's been the chief of the town of Jupiter. So,
Welcome.
Welcome.
Okay, we have no quasi judicial proceedings, no public hearing. We'll move to unfinished business. Choosing a regular member to the zoning board of adjustment. And I found out this evening that was going to work out just beautifully. Come forward for a minute, introduce yourself to the council and welcome.
Good evening, everybody.
Tell us where you live, your address, and a little background. I see it in here, but.
My name is Jeffrey Borsos. I live on 1850 Carambola Road. When my wife and I moved here, we didn't have any kids yet, but took a look at the house and drove by the little park on Carandus and fell in love with the town. And I really care about making sure that you can't avoid, change is unavoidable, right? But as long as you guide the change, you can have a little control over what happens and what goes on in the town. And I just want to make sure that I can do whatever I can do to help the town and keep it family friendly and prosperous.
Okay, you work for Specialty Engineering Consultants?
Currently, yes.
You're an inspector?
I'm a building inspector. I'm
Nice.
working on being a building code administrator, so building official. I really love the job, and I see a lot of things at a lot of places. Most of the work I do right now is in Palm Beach. So I see a lot of interesting things and interesting impacts on community. And I think I at least have a point of view that's applicable and relevant, and a lot of experience with the ups and downs of construction and zoning and the effects, all the ancillary effects on the community around.
And how long do you say you've been in Lake Clark Shores now?
8 years.
8 years?
Yeah.
You have children here now?
I do. I have a 6-year-old and a 3-year-old.
It's the county water over there.
Well, one of them's almost the 6-year-old.
Good water.
4.5, almost 4.5 feet
Nice.
tall now. So yeah, I guess.
Fantastic.
City
That is a
water.
nice park over there too, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is great.
Very nice. The
And,
kids must love it.
Yeah, and I was a little nervous when the pickleball court went in. It took a big chunk, but it's heavily used and there's still plenty of room for everybody to run around. It was really a good decision.
we're getting lights in that part.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know that project. We're getting lights in that part.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be great. So it's currently only, I was sunrise to sunset, right? But
Yeah, but
Okay,
we're going to get lights in there soon.
But yeah, I figured since it's an appointed position, and I was kind of de facto, but it's only fair to the town to at least go on record of who I am and
Thank you.
what I think and what I believe. So
Well, thank you for getting involved and welcome aboard.
thank you.
We need a
guys have any
motion.
questions
Yes,
for me?
yes,
approval.
yeah, yes. It's a resolution.
Yeah. So we're going to need somebody to make a motion for the approval. It's right there underneath this. So somebody wants to
Yeah, I'll
make
make
that
a,
motion?
I'll make a motion. I spoke with Jeff. We had a phone call with him and Rebecca, but so it's great to see you. Thanks for coming tonight. So motion to, was that it? Review the application, resume interview candidate. No, that's
Just start
definitely
where
not
it says approved by resolution.
it. Yeah. Approved by resolution
Get rid of either.
2025-02 Jeffrey Borsos
Borsos, yeah.
for the open regular member position on the zoning board of adjustments for the term that will expire in May 2026.
Beautiful. Do we have a second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Carries 5-0. Welcome.
Thank you,
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Jeff.
Let's get a quick picture with this.
Oh, more pictures.
Oh,
Your name.
I'm glad I brought my,
Just right here, just turn around.
yeah.
Turn around. Get you.
Stand up and
Real
talk.
quick. Your two kids.
Yeah.
And can you work the food line this weekend?
He works for everybody.
Good. Okay, this Saturday, 1 to 4, please.
Thank you. All right, Jeff, thank you very
Thank you,
much.
Jeff.
Welcome.
Congrats. If you got any questions, you can give me a call.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, our next item under unfinished business is My PR Gurus, Public Relations Services to the town. Elliot, good evening.
All right.
I'm doing well. How are you? Nice to see you, sir. Good.
Mr. Mayor, council members, good evening. My name is Elliot Cohen. I was asked to provide sort of an update on the distribution of the electronic newsletter as well as the Shorelines newsletter. So by way of sort of background, we started the electronic newsletter. When we started it, it had about 240 people subscribed to the electronic newsletter. It currently has approximately 680 subscribers to the newsletter over the course of the years that we've been doing it. All of those are organic signups, people that have watched, that have seen our outreach and signed up for it. As far as how we promote the electronic newsletter, we do it in several different formats. Obviously, the printed version comes out and it's placed here in Town Hall, and at the bottom of every printed newsletter, there's always a QR code for people to sign up for the newsletter. We also do it in all the other publications that we do. This is the 2024, the most recent annual report that we've done for the town, and this gets distributed on the back of the annual report. We also do an ad to sign up for the electronic newsletter QR code. We put an ad in the Shorelines magazine. So the last 2 years for the Shorelines magazine, this is the fall 2023. We had an ad for it right on the second page. Again, it's always using the QR code to sign up for it. Going back, this is the spring of 2024 on the inside cover. We tried to get people to sign up for it there as well. Fall of 2024, we promoted it again with another ad in the Shorelines. We also do promotions in person. We've got 2 6-foot-tall banners that we put out. We put them out at the barbecue last year. This one was located at the entrance when you got to the barbecue. The second one was located at the town table that's underneath the pavilion. So encouraging people to sign up for it as well. And then finally, we've got it posted on 2 places on the website. Under the resources section, there's a place where you can sign up for the buzz. And then under the section of how do I, there's also a tab that says how do I sign up for the newsletter. Obviously the barbecue is sort of a great touch point for trying to reach residents. We've got cards that have been printed up that are here. These are going to be placed on the tables.
Yes.
Where people, on the tables, in the bags.
We have 90 tables, believe it or not. So yes.
So we've got, we're
going to put them in bags. Yes.
Yeah, we've got about 2,000 of these, which we're going to distribute as well. That's how we've done it sort of organically. The other thing I was asked to touch on was the purchasing, I think, of email lists. So you can purchase email lists to try to in a geographic area. For municipalities, it's not generally considered the general practice for municipality for a couple of reasons. Because obviously you guys subscribe to rules that are a little different than a private company. Private company buys an email list. They have the email list, it's theirs. Government buys an email list and every email on that list is public. So what you're basically doing is you're getting the email addresses of people that have not volunteered to provide their email address to a public entity for public records requests. You're also getting lists where they haven't opted in. And opting in is one of the key things when it comes to email distribution. If you send an email blast out to people that have not said they want to receive your email blast and you get a high unsubscribe rate, the email service that sends out your email will run the risk of being blocked from sending emails from there if you have a high unsubscribe rate and if you're sending emails to people that haven't opted in for your service. So you can buy email lists. It's just not recommended for government entities because of the public records component to it, and because you're basically taking someone's private email address and making it public. That's the buzz. With regard to the shorelines, we do the shorelines twice a year. Shorelines is distributed to a list that we were provided by a mailing list that we were given by the town. There are a couple of different ways you can distribute shorelines. Right now, we're doing it according to that list. We have the option of doing what's called EDDM, which is every door direct mail. Every door direct mail basically is you give a stack of all your things to the post office. You tell them you want every address on the routes that you pick to get your item, and it gets put in the mailbox. It doesn't have a specific name associated with it. It doesn't have a specific resident associated with it. It just says the address. Sometimes it'll say resident, but you hit every single address.
Like
That's
campaign mail, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially what they do. So that is an option that we could, that is out there for both shorelines as well as for postcards. These are postcards that are printed up for hand distribution. We have other postcards that are formatted for mail distribution, where you can print the postage and the address on them, and we can do that as well as far as every door direct mail. To hit every address in the town, there's a little bit of spillover because you're not picking it by street address, you're picking it by postal route. So some of those postal routes overlap a little bit. So there will be some folks that live on the west side of Mango that will get it as well, but you'll hit everybody else in the town. So that's an option as well. I think I covered everything that I was asked. Yeah.
Is EDDM cheaper than what we're now doing?
So EDDM, we ran a sort of a simulation as to what it would be for a postcard distribution of EDDM, and I'll show you what it would be. So this is basically, I don't know if you can see it, but I can pass it out for you. Everything in blue.
Not the circle, the blue.
It's not the circle. The circle's just a radius around town hall. Every street in there that's blue would get them. It works out to about $900 for a postcard to get to everyone on that list. Is it cheaper? I would have to ask, because we don't handle the postage, so I don't know truthfully what an average mailing for Shorelines costs, because you guys have the postal account. But it's pretty inexpensive. I mean, you're talking about, I think it breaks down to about 22 cents a postcard, something like that.
And really the only thing that we would risk is over communicating with some potential people, but we wouldn't be missing anybody like
Correct.
myself, for
Correct.
example, who's never received it.
Right. Yeah. If we do EDDM, we will hit every single person in the town. And then some.
Which was actually really what I brought up to Joe, not so much email communications, but just doing this type of mailing where we actually very similar to what campaigns do. I mean, they don't miss us when there's an election and they want to get mail in our mailboxes.
Sure.
So it seems to be pretty effective. Even if you don't want it, you get the communication.
You will hit everybody. And then some. So you'll get some new friends on the other side of Florida Mango.
Does it take any longer than the regular mail?
Not really. I mean, it's basically you deliver it in bulk to your local post office, and then they just divide it up and give it to all the postal carriers, and they just throw it in every single mailbox as they go.
Can we ask additional questions outside of just since we have this? So we have the social media accounts. It seems to me there's a lot of people communicating through social media. I know we're starting to pump ours up. Do you have, because this is like a really, Exhibit A that they gave us is pretty basic as far as like social media, really vague. Are you providing any like structure for that aspect of what you're doing to the staff? Like, I'm posting 2 times a week and we're going to do video content and X, Y, and Z. And are you able to provide any like insights into our accounts as far as engagement?
Sure. So first part of your question is yes, we meet with staff, and for the month we'll sort of block out a calendar based on promoting footprints, promoting upcoming meetings, promoting what's going on. So we'll put together a whole calendar for the month as to what's going to be posted on there. In addition to that, obviously there's stuff that we'll throw up there, that's not on the calendar. So there was a monthly plan that gets put together. With regard to analytics, yep. I mean, we can certainly provide analytics as to, you know, how many people are clicking on it, how many people are, you know.
Are you providing that to staff now?
We're not. No, we're not doing any kind of analytics for them now, but we can. I mean, it's certainly available.
I just would love to know how our engagement is growing since the town seems to be growing. Our email signups are growing. It seems to me
We can do that.
it should be.
Sure.
A couple other questions. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're writing press releases for the town. Do you know how many you're doing on average? Like how many press releases you did as part of your contract last year?
We're available to write press releases. We actually have not been asked to write any.
Okay.
So we don't. I mean, we can if you need one, but we haven't been asked to write any.
Okay. And that would come from you, Joe?
Yes, the police department or myself, we do press release.
Okay. And then my last question. So one of the things on here is communication plans for high profile issues. I think the last 2 years was pretty consumed with the sewer. And so there must have been a plan that was developed. Does that exist? Can we review that?
So there isn't an existing communication plan. We were never asked to put one together. What we did was we consulted with Dan over the course of the several years that it was coming up. We worked with him on sewers. We worked with him on the Blue Way Trail. We worked with him, which was sort of in conjunction with the boat lift. But there isn't an existing plan because it's the sewer has sort of been fits and starts. It started and then
Well, it just seems there's a lot of miscommunication. I mean, I came into it like obviously like some of us up here, but am aware of what took place, and it just seems like there might have been ways to communicate just process and what was happening. Maybe like frequently asked questions even about the sewer. Finally, we ended up doing a charrette through this town council. As our consultant, do you ever make recommendations to the town about what we should do?
We do.
Okay, so
We've made
take that recommendation.
We've made several recommendations over the course of the years as far as sewer outreach. Yes.
All right, thank you very much.
Is most of the content creation stuff that's the town is just alerting you to an upcoming event, or are you actually creating content as well?
Both. I mean, obviously, if you have an upcoming event, we're creating the content to promote it. Does that answer? I mean,
is it most of what you're putting in the newsletters or on the social media or on the Buzz or the Shorelines or whatever is a result of a meeting with the town staff as opposed to something that you're just sort of coming up with?
Well, sort of what we provide for municipalities is we'll sort of cull through agendas and listen to meetings and go through reports and sort of pick out things that we think would be interesting for residents to, you know, that make a good story or make the town look good or something that's interesting. And that's where we get a lot of the information. We'll go through the manager's monthly report. Like I said, we'll go through your meetings. And if there's something that the town specifically wants us to promote or wants us to write a story about, we'll do that as well. Some of the content is required. We put in the shorelines once a year, a whole bunch of flood information, which is required for insurance purposes. But a lot of it is just based on what we pick up from our discussions and from the town that we think would be interesting for people to know.
It would be, I think might be helpful because there are certain websites out there that there's a lot of concern being expressed about the Pine Tree Bridge, that maybe if the websites that you controlled addressed timelines and schedules and where we are and some more bridge postings.
So we've got so we built the bridge page, which has the timeline on it.
But I'm talking about the social.
Yeah, social. Well, the other thing that we actually we are going to start doing is a weekly bridge update via email that people can opt into.
That's great, because we asked for that.
So we're going to start.
We need more of that because there's a lot of vitriol out there.
Yeah, we're going to start doing. In fact, we sent a template of it to the town this week just to sort of approve it. But it's basically just proactively pushing out what the latest is on the bridge once a week.
Was that something you had previously recommended as far as bridge communications?
No. Yeah, that was a suggestion based from you folks.
So Elliot, thanks for being here tonight. Thank you for the work you put in for the town up to this point. And so just a couple of questions. I wanted to know, do you have a strategy for like new residents? Like I know you got, hey, scan this magazine or scan this, take pictures of that. But a lot of times the town is so different from other areas that you don't know that you can kind of be a part of the community and get these things. So is there a strategy to reach those folks? And then to my other council's point, like news and updates, social media, like real time, like, oh, there's a, you know, this happening or that happening or this update or that update in the social media platform. Is there a strategy to kind of get that going in a more real-time manner than just like, oh, the barbecue is this Saturday, but like, hey, we're looking for volunteers to get out and we need some help, whatever we need there. And then lastly, I got my degree in computer science out of college, but one of the things with the analytics that was so important, it was targeted outreach to specific communities where like people, like our social media is really reaching the people in Lake Clark Shores, not like in West Palm, not like in Boca, not down in Miami, but like we're really targeting the folks who are in Lake Clark Shores who are on social media. Are we utilizing any of those tools as well, just to make sure we're reaching our target audience?
So there hasn't been any money that was budgeted to do sort of the targeted social media. We certainly can do that. I mean, you can target by zip code, we can target by demographics, we can do all that. We haven't gotten to that point. We certainly can do that if that's something that the town desires, if we want to start getting a little more specific as to who we're targeting. But you're talking about ads, you're talking about banner ads, targeting people, and you're not talking about posts. You're talking about basically using the analytics to target people within the zip code that are 25 to 55 or that kind of thing.
I think a
right?
combination of both. Really, I just want to make sure if we're putting a blanketed out, hey, the barbecue is this Sunday, but no one in Lake Clark Shores actually sees it. It's not really helpful. So it's like, hey, we want to make sure that if we say there's a barbecue this Saturday, that everyone in Lake Clark Shores who's on social media sees it.
Right. So we can, obviously part of the discussion is boosting posts. And
yeah,
boosting
exactly.
ads.
To our community and the folks that's on social media who really should get the information so that's what I'm saying, like a generic post that doesn't really help us help them. The communication is still, there's a drop there if they aren't actually getting the communication, if that makes sense.
Yeah, we can start boosting the posts. We can start targeting the posts as well. I mean, again, it's something that hasn't been requested of us yet. So we haven't been doing it, but we certainly do it for other clients.
So, and I know I'm talking a lot, guys, so bear with me. So what strategy do you have for new residents for getting, did you come up with some kind of strategy or plan for that?
So usually one of the best ways to capture new residents is when they sign up for utilities. And obviously half of your town, that would be great. The other half of the town is not your own utility. There is a resident guide that's actually been put together. There it is.
You just pass it.
But having the guide is not what you're talking about. You're talking about how do we get it to people? How do we find out who's supposed to get it? It's tough. I mean, every municipality struggles with keeping track of who's moving in and who's moving out.
Right.
And like I said, the lists that a municipality generally has access to would be the municipality list. But there are other lists. I mean, people who move into town are going to sign up for a tennis permit. People that move into town are going to sign up for a boating permit. People who move in, I mean, there are ways to capture them as well. And, to start pulling from those, if there's a new list. There's always the business licenses if you want to target certain businesses in the town.
Who gets this? How do they get the welcome packet?
Well, that's just it. That's what I mean.
That's on the website, isn't it?
That's my point. I'm trying to get to a strategy how to properly.
Welcome packet is on the website.
Yeah, but I mean, this is the town of Lake Clark Shores. Like,
yeah, it's tough. I mean, one of the hardest things that cities struggle with is keeping track of who moves in and who moves out. And in fact, by doing the EDDM, which we were talking about for the mailing, that will actually help that situation, because if John Maples moves out of the house and we're sending mail to John Maples, it's going to be returned.
Right.
If John Maples moves out and we're sending mail to a resident, then whoever moved in is going to be getting it.
Right.
So that will help to a certain extent.
There's also ways to mail to through home sales and that sort of thing. I feel like this should be, especially for our town size, a fairly simple strategy for us to put together.
It is. If there is a budget for it, then we are happy to do it. Like I said,
you just described how cost effective the
EDDM is
yes.
easy. That's because we're mailing anyway.
Absolutely. And Mayor Freebold, yes. The website, having this type of thing on the website is really helpful. But as a new resident, I have to know this even exists and go and find it on the website.
Well,
I'd have
if
to, like,
I'm part
search.
dinosaur. If I can find it, you can find it.
You'd have to know that one even
Or the
exists there
kids.
to go
Well,
and
I'm
look for
saying,
it.
They go into the website and they see that, right?
No.
Yeah,
you- I
When
mean,
you search
if you look-
websites, that's how you find.
how do I know?
I don't do that kind of stuff, so I don't know.
So
But I'm saying,
yes, it's on the website. There are ways to make things easier to find on the
not that
website.
it's a bad idea to have it for them personally, but I agree with you. It's very difficult to keep track of those different types of things. So that's
Yeah.
a nice, not a bad spot.
You know, what we could do
The new
is,
budget's coming up. We will be happy to talk it when that time rolls around.
okay. All right. What we can do, this past year, we rebuilt the CRA pages to make them a little easier to navigate. We do have we can always build sort of a new resident section.
That's exactly.
In which case, you click on it and what's on the new resident section, the guide is on there. The application for a tennis permit is on there. How do you sign up for water services on, I mean, whatever you think is on there. We can certainly build on the website an entire section and make it prominent, make it easy to find with a button right on the homepage for new residents. I mean, that's
a strategy, Elliot. That's a strategy. I like that. There you go. Nice.
that's easy.
How you thinking
that
on
we
your
can do.
feet?
When we have the tent out there with the town table, do we know how many people sign up then? We kept, Mary, don't you normally have that table?
Yes,
Or something? Do we know in the past how many have signed up?
for the,
Well, just put their email address on file. Isn't that what they do out there? Or they sign up for the newsletter?
They
Or
don't, they take their phone and
Huh?
they scan.
See, I don't know how
They
to
do it
do
on their
that.
phone. Yeah.
I don't know how to do that.
Through a QR code?
Yeah. We use the
So
same.
we can track the QR code, right?
Yeah.
See how
But
many
have
people
children.
used it,
Yeah, but yeah.
See if it's effective or not.
So that would be under your realm to track the QR code.
We could do that as well. Sure. So we could do it for the barbecue this weekend.
That would be a good start.
Okay.
I mean, I ran into just a neighbor down the street, she's been there a couple of months, and she wants to get involved. She was unaware of it. And I just know because I walked that area and I knew that she's a new resident. So
Tell her we need help at the barbecue.
I did. I
Good.
did. She has a
I'm
kid.
serious.
No, I'm serious. She wants to get involved and she said
Good.
she was going to watch online. I don't know if she did or not, but. trust
I've
me,
long
I-
said the best thing about Lake Clark Shores is a lot of it's volunteers, right, gentlemen? Yes, it's true. We've had great volunteers over the years, so get everybody you can involved.
No, she's in her forever home. She said she was going to stay.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're available to do just about anything you need. I mean, that's just, we can sit down and sort of go through a whole menu and laundry list of.
Well, this year, let's
ways.
definitely keep track of how many people sign up. And then we can put that somewhere in an archive and we can track that year to year. And then keep track of it like that.
Sure.
So, okay. All right, everybody's good?
One more question. Elliot,
Yes.
please, when you make a post about the bridge,
Mhm.
include pictures that include workers at work
Okay.
and preferably a video with things moving, machinery and men doing things.
Just for the record,
I have a
Elliot, the
picture
bridge
on
is under
Saturday, they were working
contract,
on
Elliot.
Saturday.
I'm sorry,
The bridge is under contract. The onus is on the contractor to finish ahead of schedule or on time, or he gets hit financially. The timetable has been established from the get-go. It's a huge inconvenience, I agree, but it's also something that was needed to be done. And if we only have to do it once every 70 years, I'm a happy camper. And I go that way every single, well, I used to. I don't go that way every day now, but I will as soon as it's done.
Was the
So
original timeline like 9 months?
It's
I'm going to
300,
bet you one of those door prizes that it goes ahead of schedule.
Yeah,
300,
I would too.
310 days, August 8th, and we're looking at right now, July, so which is ahead of schedule. We're
No,
still ahead of
I
schedule.
I haven't walked my dog. I drove around during the park and they were actually working on Saturday. And I took some
Yeah.
pictures and sent it to Joe.
We
So
will
I was
get, we will
surprised.
get some pictures with people.
So just so we have some action steps on motion on this, Elliot, what's next? What do you need for this council? Joe, do we need anything from this council
Well,
tonight? Like, what do we need to
thank
make
you.
sure we're?
Thank you, John. That's a good question, because I do want to change the policy of, I call it, I'm familiar with it, bulk mail, instead of those initials he used. And that's what I'm familiar with using, because it does get to everybody. So and I know Taylor agrees with me, so because she's been saying the same thing. But for some reason, past councils have decided to do it the other way. So I'm just letting you know, we're going to change policy and go it this way and try it. He still has that other email list if we ever want to go back. But I think we should try bulk mail. And you'll get some negatives, like I'm going to get some calls from those people that are not in the town. They're going to say, why am I getting your newsletter? Why am I getting this? So I'm used to that. And I'll explain it to them. And, but I think there's more positives than negatives. So we're going to change that.
So do we have, are we mailing this out just so I can be physically responsible once a year or twice a year? Like what are we doing here with this thing?
Well, every mailing I'd like to change. It's two newsletters a year.
Okay.
To this.
Shoreline. Two Shorelines magazines.
Right. But, and cost, we felt it was cheaper in my old job to do it that way. But I can't tell you the new numbers. I haven't looked at
That
it. in a
was
long
the
time.
previous council's thoughts too.
Really? Was it
Saved
cheaper
a lot of money.
to use the
Well,
drones?
we used to send them out every month. Years ago, they came out every single month.
Yeah, before
the shore-
electronic.
Yeah,
Not the shoreline.
before all of that. So then it was becoming, when 07 and 08 came around and everything, and you're looking to squeeze pennies and get what you can and cut this, cut that. That's how that arrived.
Is there a necessity to do more than two?
No, because we do that monthly electronic. I think it's a good balance. And just so you know, we do have a list that anybody wants a hard copy of it. That did come up last meeting too. And we only have 10 people on that list, but we mail everything to them that's electronic. So anybody who needs that, please come into the office or call me and we will sign you up for the mail and we'll mail it to you every month.
And Joe, what about the postcard? Because he did did share some hard numbers on that, but what about the postcard? Are we doing that? or what's the-
I'm going to do the postcard because I want to do the postcard, that little postcard out to everybody. Please sign up for the buzz.
Okay.
So we're going to do that, but we're going to do the shoreline that way too. That's what I'm saying.
Okay. Is that-
Do we need a motion?
Is the postcard QR coded as well?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
we
It's right there. It's just going to have the little postage thing on it.
Yeah,
It'll,
That's the one that.
it'll look like that. You can hand those out.
I just haven't seen it.
Yeah. Right.
It's great. I think outside of the bulk mail, my other takeaway would be to have a really strong understanding as to how we are engaging on social media and what the insights of our platforms are.
Last time I looked, I thought Facebook had like 800 people. It was actually beating the buzz. Emily, am I correct with my numbers?
I don't necessarily,
It's on the.
and Elliot will understand this, not so much about like who's following us.
Right, I understand.
John brought
It's
up a
lot
really
more
great
than just
point,
the
but I want
followers.
to actually know the
I
engagement
understand. I understand.
to see how the accounts are being used.
I mean, not only just Facebook, we also have other social platforms.
We do.
Yeah.
Instagram and Twitter.
And X.
X.
We do
I
the
think
three.
that's interesting that we have an X account.
So,
Haven't seen that.
as far as that's concerned, do you need anything from this council as it relates to getting the analytics, bringing those numbers back to the council so we can kind of see the progress and the growth? Do you need any approval on, I mean, I know budget season's gonna come up here, money for making sure that social media is being targeted, that the residents are getting the communications and that we're getting current news, you know what I mean? Like, hey, we need some volunteers this weekend. Hit everybody in Lake Clark Shore so we can get the people we need. Like, I think that kind of stuff but make sure that the social media posts are going to the residents of Lake Clark Shores who are all on social media because we have a lot of them on there.
Right now, I don't, but I'll talk to Elliot, but these are the notes I took. I want to start a question and answer on the bridge.
Great idea.
So we'll do that. My other notes is utilities is the awesome way to get new residents. So I'm going to call Palm Springs to see if they'll help me out and tell them when we get a new resident. So that's a note I made. So those are the two things. And then he's going to help me on the social media, how to look at that differently because I just look at followers. Yes.
And the other thing that I might suggest is to do some sort of a survey, whether it's a telephone survey or something like that, to find out what is the best way to reach your residents. Because we can sit here and talk about social media engagement, but if 60% of your residents aren't on social media, it's not going to help us.
For me, you have to do everything.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we're going to mail to them,
You got to do everything.
like we got the mayor here, he wants it in mail. He's got to have it in writing. He's got to give you his email address. He's not going to click your QR code. It's not going to happen. So we're going to mail
One of
something
my
to
kids
them.
might, but I probably won't.
Yeah, well, kids will help them out, and then a lot of other residents are on Facebook and social media. And so I think if we're doing both, I think if we hit this target approach, we're going to we got to track the numbers with the analytics to see if it gets substantially better on engagement. Right now, we have no idea if this will work or not work. We have no idea if the old strategy was working or wasn't working because we have no ROI to compare the numbers. With the analytics, we'll know for sure. And then we can stop and pivot and maybe go with a different strategy and recommendation if we're not getting the engagement, and if we're not having the communication that the residents feel like, hey, I feel like I'm really aware.
I would love some data that tells me what the majority of your residents, how they want to be communicated with. And we can accomplish that. I mean, if we're going to do a postcard, there are ways that we can design some feedback from the postcard when people sign up and to fill out a survey online. But I would love to know, if you get some data back that says 85% of the residents are on social media, then yeah, go for it. I mean, have at it. Let's pour every minute we have into maximizing social media. But if we get it back saying, you know what, I like having something physical in my hand, like you said, then we would adjust to see a different way to do it. But I'd love to know how they communicate.
Yeah,
because Lake Clark Shores is kind of unique in many ways.
Very unique.
Yes.
Very unique.
We have
Special.
You're a politician. That was very diplomatic.
Yeah.
We have a wide variety of demographics, that's for sure.
That's why you have to include all of them.
Yep.
Even though 85% might be this way, you have to not forget those 15% of those other people.
Absolutely.
This is terrific, Joe. I hadn't seen this before, but one improvement, yeah. One improvement is I would include in the front of this that wonderful letter that Taylor wrote, the welcome letter.
Okay. Thank you.
That's a great idea.
Okay.
That's a great idea.
Thank you, Elliot.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Elliot.
Thank you, Elliot.
Have a good evening. Thank you for coming tonight.
Good seeing you.
Thank you.
We'll talk to you soon. Okay, we're going to move on to new business, Auditing Services Committee member selection. Joe, I'm going to hand it over to you.
Yeah, thank you. Our contract with our current auditors expires this year. It'll be our last audit with that. Well, actually, they can rebid, but our contract expires. General practices are the best. They say best for municipalities to rotate every so often. So, but also there's a state statute out there that gives us guidelines, and they're required to be followed on how you form a committee. It's called a Audit Selection Committee. Take care, Elliot. And the makeup of that committee has to be one council member, and that person has to chair the committee, and the other two members can be anyone. So we have two recommendations because I served on this committee in many jurisdictions. It's good to have a government person on there from another jurisdiction. So we have two finance directors we called, one from the Village of Palm Springs and one from the City of Green Acres. But obviously we need one of you to nominate yourself or have someone nominate someone to chair this committee. And what you do in this committee is you actually create the RFP. Staff can help with assisting with saying, here's some RFPs to look at, but there's some decisions on when do you look at fees, what criteria do you use to evaluate the audit firms. So there's things that this committee does, but the major work is going to be to actually evaluate the different audit firms and then rank them and then bring them back to this council for a final decision on who picks our next auditors. So I guess the first thing, Mayor, is looking for someone who wants to be the chair of this committee.
I'd like to nominate Vice Mayor John Maples, if he's interested.
I'll second that motion.
I'll third it.
I'll fourth it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I'd like to thank my fellow council for their vote of confidence, and I will be here to do my part. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think this is your area of expertise, so.
Thank you, John. So if you're okay with those two recommended other two members, and you could have more than three, but three is enough. So if you're okay with that, the motion's right there to make, if you'd like. The motion says Town Council appoints the above named individuals and John Maples to be on the Audit Selection Committee.
I can make the motion that the staff recommends the town council appoint the above named individuals. Do I need to name them?
No.
And council member, Vice Mayor John Maples to the Auditor Selection Committee.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carries. Is that a 5-0 carry or any against?
Congratulations. And thank you.
Okay. All right, let's move on to status reports. Chief, come on up. Oh, you can do it from your chair. We know you now. Fire part, yes, sir.
Doesn't feel so proper doing it here. Thank you guys for having me. Sorry I missed last month's meeting. I was out of town. I had Chief Duffy come in my place, give a report. Ms. Keating, I followed up with your question about the bridge closer in our response times. The change was about 2 seconds, 2 to 3 seconds. I'm surprised too.
That's insignificant.
It wasn't much
That's
of a
awesome.
change. It wasn't much of a change.
And that was the estimate that we got before construction.
Yeah.
That's, you know,
Was very minimal, not 2
I
seconds.
work in
We got
Dade
very-
County and our numbers are in minutes, not in seconds.
Correct. Traffic, right?
Yes.
Station 93 doesn't really gain that problem from the south. So just listening to the meeting today, I think it's pretty funny. We run into a lot of the same problems. Being voluntold to be heads of committees. So it's pretty funny how it's same troubles are everywhere. The construction issue with being delayed. I hear that complaint probably daily at fire stations, you know, making my round. And a lot of it's out of our control, right? And then social media. Social media was a big, sorry.
No.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
All right. Social media, all I can say it works. Our analytics have shown 30-second shorts are how to target your audience. I don't know what that means really, but
100%.
we're just going through this right now. I have a printout of our annual report. I have a copy for each of you. I plan on presenting it next meeting, so you guys can take a look at it over the next month. And if you have any questions, you let me know. But in there, it just proves our social media has gained traction through these shorts. And that's what, it's the attention span. That's what it came down to. Those shorts are 30 seconds long, 10 seconds long. And that's what people like nowadays, so they can just move their finger and go to the next thing. Barbecue's coming this weekend. Truck 35 will be there as well as myself. I hear you need volunteers on the food line. I don't mind doing it. I don't mind helping out.
Sign 'em
I'm
up.
willing to volunteer.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Want to let you know about
Involved too.
right? Want to let you know about the ladder truck. Our battalion is looking to getting a new ladder truck. We currently have one that we're going to use for this event. It's truck 35. It's really out of my battalion. I usually borrow from battalion 3. So every time I use it for an event, I have to contact another chief, and he's always going to tell me, of course, but it's going to minimize that step. We don't know where it's going to be located, but it's going to be in battalion 10, which is great. So now you're going to be surrounded by a little more. Again, they told us it's going to be at the end of the year, but don't get your hopes up. Just
That's good news.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah.
Recruit class, we currently have a recruit class in place right now. They graduate the 26th of the month of March. And we're constantly recruiting. We try to, our plan is to have 3 classes a month over the next few years, just to be able to keep up with attrition. And they're about 45 personnel. And now let's talk about calls. Palm Beach County Fire Rescue ran 25 calls in the last month, in the month of January, in the town of Lake Clark Shores. 19 of them were medical. 2 of them were fire alarms. 2 of them show up as fires. Doesn't mean it's a fully involved residential structure fire. So it could be an electrical fire, it could smell of smoke. And then 1 hazardous situation. Again, Palm Beach County Fire Rescue is here for anything. I'm trying to get more involved now that I've been in the position a couple months in. I'm not drowning anymore because before I was doing 2 jobs till they promoted for my other job. But I want to stay involved with the community. So I reached out to Mr. Lobello. See if you could just let me know of events going on and anything going on. I would like to participate.
Thank you.
But if you guys have any questions for me, I'll
very
give you these
much.
packets later on tonight, and then I'll present next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Chief.
Any questions for Chief?
Yes, sir.
No questions? Okay. Chief, you're up next.
All right, all of you have a copy of my report. If you have any questions, reference to the complaint. Remember, when somebody says they never see a police vehicle, I got GPS. And I went over there, it was about 50 times. Actually, since the road is closed on Pine Tree, you got double exposure on traffic enforcement. I talked with the manager. We did enforcement down there. We wrote warnings and tickets. We're going to form the committee, and then we're going to work with the gentleman on reference. He was interested in getting a speed hump. Also down right by his house, so I don't have to move it, is a database speed. So you could sit out there and see how fast the vehicles are going, and then we'll work on the percentages. The last time I checked the percentages, I think it was 95% of the people do comply with the speed limit. But you know, when you're down there and you see somebody speeding, you think everybody's speeding. One other thing, at the end of the month, we have a meeting with the Secret Service. This has to do with spot shooter. They're going to install some equipment, also some other technology, probably dealing with missiles and different things. So there's going to be some technology in the immediate area. Palm Springs is getting it. We're getting it. We're going to talk to the vendor, the Secret Service, National Security. They'll said they would train our people so we would understand what was going on to assist the federal government if anything
When you
happens.
say equipment, what type of equipment? Can you divulge that, or is that something they
No,
need to know?
Well, national security, the spot shooter is used in West Palm, Riviera Beach has, and we don't really have an issue with shootings on the weekends and stuff where we would need that.
What is that?
But what it is, it's when somebody fires a weapon, it's technology, and they have different systems set up where they triangleize. So you could get a latitude and longitude, and you know where the person who's shooting the weapon is coming from.
And they can differentiate between that and fireworks?
Yes, the technology is unbelievable. The other technology would probably have to do with monitoring, dealing with the airport or somebody that might be flying over Mar-a-Lago if the president's in town. So, any questions?
Thank you.
Not on that, Chief, and thank you for your service, but Mr. Mayor, if I may, I do have one question. How long, I know we've kind of gotten the jet ski thing and we're working through that. Is there somebody you can make a phone call to help us get in the next class for training, for boating capabilities there on the water?
They're going to notify us as soon as they have a class. And usually they like to get about a half a dozen people to make it worth their while to do that. So as soon as they get a class, we can put a couple people that are interested in doing that. A lot of times, since I've been here in the 24 years, we've never had a full-time Marine unit. And when we got the boat, we utilized it. We'd get volunteers from the officers to operate the Marine boat on the weekend. And then over time, we had people that would go out on the boat like every other day, or if we had a complaint, put the boat in. So we don't have a full-time Marine unit, but we can put it in. But it can be utilized, and it will be utilized, you know, if you have a complaint where you have like the complaint on the jet skis. Now, we did have some complaints. Ed went last night, and I don't know if they were in violation. I don't think they were, because when you went over there, you took the meter, and I don't know if they were in violation. You can speak to that.
They're already coming out of the water.
Oh, they're already coming out of the water.
Was it dark?
That's noise. We're talking about noise now.
So, yeah.
And we don't have half a dozen police officers that are willing to go, that we could
I think I got
constitute a class.
two are interested in going.
Okay. And is it possible to get that training somewhere else so we can get it done sooner? Because if it's been 2 months and there's, you know, we're still waiting on a class, then that could be another 2 months before they get the 24 people or so they're waiting on to field a class to make it happen.
I can check with the Marine, the Florida State Marine, but you know, a lot of those boats and stuff are still being used on the West Coast after the hurricanes. And so,
Yeah. We couldn't use our own? Could we use our own boat for training?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, okay, yeah.
We train on our boat.
Now, is the boating safety course different than the U.S. Coast Guard, or is this the PBS?
Well, this is different than the Coast Guard. This has to do with tactical operation on
Okay.
pulling people over and how to pull them over at different angles and stuff in case somebody is armed.
Yeah.
I just think I'm with John, that I think we need to look outside of PBSO if it's going to be continuing long as we have safety issues here now. It's not just
Yeah.
that people are speeding, they're at night. I know that when they were out at Lake Clark, the big lake, they used to come by, with no lights on, and after dark, that's illegal. And who do we call? By the time we call, they're gone. And next time somebody comes out, we may have a fatality, and then what? Then we're gonna wait to put a traffic light in, we wait for somebody to get killed before we put that in. I think this needs to be expedited because this is now, to me, the priority is safety, and it's getting worse. It's not getting better.
We could check with Dade and Broward. Yeah, we can check with Dade and Broward. Yeah.
And FWC is another option.
Sometimes they'll be willing and sometimes they're not. PBSO has just been who has been more than willing to help us.
I know you're at the mercy of
reach out.
the agency. I understand.
Yeah, they don't charge
You
us
can make some
anything.
phone calls, no problem.
Yeah,
Thank you.
we can check.
But we can also maybe contact and see if we can get the state, see if they'll come in. Sometimes they'll come in and do some patrolling and help us out, so.
Sounds like a plan to me.
Yeah, that'd be great, Chief. Thank you.
Okay, good with Chief. Okay, Charlie, you're up.
My report is included in your packet. I'll be happy to answer any questions regarding the report. At the last meeting, you asked me to look at the issue of property surveys. And the answer to your question on the life of a survey or how long a survey is good is typically 5 to 10 years maximum, but it depends on what the survey is being used for and the type of survey. If you are purchasing or selling property, a 10-year or a 5-year-old survey will not be accepted. It has to be a current survey. When you're dealing with building construction, then a 10-year survey is also not typically acceptable. And in most cities, the survey needs to be a year old. Lake Clark Shores requires it to be no older than 3 years. Again, it depends on the type of the survey. If it's a boundary survey and you're simply looking at the property lines, the survey can be older because those boundaries, unless you have a property on a river where your property will recede, it's not going to change. But in the case of a permit for a structure, you typically look at the location of the house to make sure that it meets setbacks, and any new construction also meets setbacks. That also applies to fences and sheds. And typically those surveys are 1 year old to 3 years old. It's staff's recommendation that we leave our code as it is at 3 years. But I would say that in no event should you consider a survey older than 5 years.
Any questions regarding that? Christie, that was one of your concerns?
Yeah, I'm not gonna die on the hill, but I would think 5 years would be a little more friendly to the residents, but again, I'm not gonna die on this hill.
We can take that and digest it and
Sure.
bring that back up.
Absolutely.
So right now it stands at 3.
And typically when you're dealing with a boundary survey, it's not an issue, but once you're permitting structures, it becomes more important. And clearly, if you're getting a new survey, the cost is significantly more, $1,000 to $1,500. If you're getting an update on an existing survey, you're typically looking at $400 to $500.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Scheck? We're good with him. We're going to move on to Joe. Joe, you have the floor.
Thank you. Mostly good news. Next meeting is on the 11th of March, and then we have April 8th. The senior club is always on the third Wednesday of the month. This month, which is next week, we'll have a presentation on senior programs and elderly care. The barbecue, we still need volunteers, but we'd love for you all to come because it's going to be a great event. We have a country band that's really good. We have a different new item on the menu. We have shredded chicken instead of chicken pieces. So, and all the great food that Bob and Paul puts together.
Question with the barbecue.
Yeah.
Do we still have that lighted sign that, we put it up for different reasons?
Yes.
That we could, like, maybe put something on Pine Tree that reminding people, I know you have the signs out, but being that it's over here.
Yeah, sure.
I think there's a lot of people, it might prompt them to remind them about the.
I'll check where it's at. I don't know where it's at right now, but I'll check if we can.
You might need volunteers on there as well.
Yeah, we actually put spikes. We put spite signs. I don't know if you saw them through the community. Need volunteers. Now we put the sign out. It's this Saturday. So we got 2 different spite signs out there. But everybody's excited. We think it's going to be a great event. Movie night, Friday, March 21st. That is coming up too. All right. The bridge, as the mayor said, it's on schedule. It was always 310 days. The schedule is right there on the website. We had great news this week, as I said, because the utility companies did relocate their wires. So next week, sorry, anyone who lives by there, because they're going to be pounding all the other driving those piles in. And there's many of them, and it's going to be very loud. I don't recommend you actually going over there. I actually went to one time when it was driving and it was really hurting your ears. It's that loud. So
I could hear it on Pine Tree halfway down the lake.
Exactly.
It's gotta be loud.
So unfortunately, it's at least 2 weeks of doing that. So I apologize, but 2 weeks of really loud noise. So sorry. The good news, we asked for a decision on the CRA if they can pay for 2 of the poles. There's 4 poles that are projected to be on that bridge for light poles. And what you do is you make a justification. I did that. I sent it over to our town attorney, and he said, yes, we can use 50% for CRA money because we're illuminating the south part of those 2 parks.
Spot on.
So great news. So we're working on not only the railing, and we're working on getting some light poles to you all to choose what light poles we can pick. We actually contacted Nicole at Cutler and Herring too to help us too with that. But we'll have at least 3 or 4 for you guys to pick, see if you like one of them, and the cost. It'll be a change order, obviously, but you don't have to approve it. But I think with the CRA paying for 50% of it, I think this is a no-brainer to deploy it now. So that's what's going to be my recommendation. So the bridge, we actually got a good comment from a resident. Emily got it actually, that why don't you put the updates on the buzz, because we thought we were just having it on the website. So if you have great ideas for how to communicate, because communicating is always a battle, give it to us, because now we're putting it on the buzz, how the bridge is doing. So, but I like that frequently asked questions too. So we're going to add that. All right. Another thing you guys recommended was, we already have our staff report on the website. Can we put something about police matters and arrest? We already have it. So the chief does a great report every month, but it was not ADA approved. So Emily, thank you. She worked with the police department. Now it's ADA approved. So we're putting this, we already put 2 on the website. We're going to get with you now, chief, to see if we can get yours on our website. So, so we're going to put those on our website. but we already have the police on there. So John, that was one of your questions.
Fantastic. Thank you.
So see if you like it and let us know if we can change it in any way. Thank you for the ribbon cutting, for the boat improvements. I still get compliments all the time about how they love that beach ramp, the boat ramp, how it came out. It came out really nice. All right, we're doing windows. We got new tennis lights. We did some sidewalk repairs out there. And Cutler and Herring, good news. We just basically, Emily and I finished, we had a meeting with them today, and they basically have almost finished the survey. So we think we're gonna deploy it on the barbecue. So there'll be another QR code for you to start the process, or take a card with you. We think we're gonna have a postcard out there so you can do it at your leisure, take the survey of master planning those 3 parks. So
So that's for everybody, including the residents.
yes. So that should be out this weekend.
We have a volunteer, someone handing out.
Yeah, they're going to be on the tables. They're going to be everywhere. So we're talking about that now.
Perfect.
All right. Last time we talked about retirement for our police and general employees. We said we're going to invite the Florida Retirement System representative to be here. That's the state agency that actually has everyone in this who's employed by the state and every county. They do not do presentations to governments. So they told us to look at their frequently asked questions on how to join the FRS. Which was interesting, because we did find something that was troubling. Because remember when I said on the private pension, if we started our own pension plan for our police and general or whatever we do, you can use your 401A money, which is a 457 basically, and buy past service. They do not allow that in the FRS. So they only allow the entity, which is the government, to buy past service. So, which is a very big deal because it's very expensive. And so we'll keep the discussion, but just wanted to update you on that. All right.
I know the employees can request a general workshop from the FRS.
Yes.
That not just,
On-
they can't come to us.
Right. On an individual basis, they would even meet with staff, they said.
Right.
They would not meet with the council.
Yeah, I understand.
All right, I'll start with the bad news. The bad news is community park lighting. We have the poles on site, and I just found out today that the fixtures might be delayed 2 more months. Can't believe it. So we're still working with the vendor. It's a big vendor. The contractor called him. I didn't call him yet, but the contractor called him and they said, do you want to cancel the order? So that's how they don't fool around. So
Are they the only ones that do this type of lighting?
we're going to check everything because 2 months is ridiculous. But
You start looking, and then if
it
there's
was
somebody else.
it was the low bid, yes. And it's a good product, by the way. But we're going to check everything. But we are going to, in the next 2 weeks, we're going to put the poles up. So this way we just have to put the fixtures on top. So that's the bad news, sorry. The good news is really good news. And I want to first thank you all and thank the residents, because this is one of the things we've been working on for a couple of years now, is try to relieve the traffic on Forest Hill, I-95, the high school. And we got do not block the box, obviously, on Forest Hill. And now we got some great news. They're going to deploy a smart camera in that area to actually help all those traffic signals in that area. Traffic that's coming from I-95, coming from the east, coming from the west. It's a pretty good thing. I think it's an excellent thing because there's only 3 of them, I think, deployed in the whole state. So please take one of these articles. But thank you all for helping us staff with that, because this is really good news.
Do you understand what that actually does before still?
Yeah, it'll actually, if there's more congestion on getting off the off ramp of I-95, it'll open that green light for longer times, or vice versa. If the high school is congested,
Dependent, yeah.
it will open that green light for longer.
This would be a wonderful piece to include on our social media.
Yes, I copied him, so we're going to put that on there. So that is my report. Thank you.
Any questions for?
I got one more thing. Can I?
Yes.
Because we're early. There's this, I don't want to make a big, what I'm looking into, but there's a mobility plan that you can do now. Statutes have changed on that you can have your own mobility plan. And basically there's road impact fees that the county collects. Then you possibly can share with the county or take from the county. Don't want to get into the pluses and minuses.
It's like Farmers Garden.
Gardens, Gardens has had a lawsuit with the county, but they actually won. The Gardens actually won, and basically they can do what they want. But there is some provision. So I'm going to look into it more. But one of the things we can do, because you can't really pave roads with it, but what you can do is we can do a major traffic calming system in the town. What that means is, how the travel lanes could be 8 or 10 feet, you can make them 7 feet. So that is a traffic calming device when you make travel lines smaller, and you can actually put pedestrian walkways on both sides of the roadway itself without sidewalks. So I'm going to look into that further, but we'll talk about that if you think you're interested in something like that, because instead of doing sidewalks, you can actually, with paint, put a designated area where you can walk and or cycle. And with the stripes, it'll slow down. You can actually change your miles per hour to 20 miles per hour when you deploy something like that. So there's pluses and minuses, obviously, with everything. So I'll keep you up to date, but I'm starting to have that conversation.
Does that fall in line with the Safe Street Initiative? I know they just had that.
Safe streets is just a big word that means a lot of things. But yeah,
there was funding that was tied to it. That's what, I know it's
Yeah.
Safe Streets giving me many different things.
if you do your own mobility plan, you can go to the TPA, which is the federal government, and you can, it takes a long time, but Gardens, after 5 years, they're actually building some of their projects right now, and they're pretty big projects.
Yeah.
So this is not a really big project, except for the paving part, because it's striping, but it'll really change the community.
I think it's awesome because I'm seeing, that's one thing I love about this community, but I'm seeing more and more people walking all different times. Walking, they got kids, and then I see vehicular traffic not pay attention, and so it's also a safety factor. And I think that one of the residents I spoke with said, I would like to see sidewalks. I said, they understand the dilemma. Some people want it, some people don't want it. Also,
Right.
It goes into your swale, and then there's a whole host of other issues that tie along with it. But I think this is a great compromise. With that said, do we have any updates on the capital improvement plan for the paving that you said you guys are meeting up with the GIS?
Yeah, we're going to do that in June.
You're going to start in June?
Yeah, that's on the agenda for June.
Okay, then
Yeah.
With the update?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. But it's just an option. I'm just bringing you guys options so you guys to think about, because also you can put sidewalks in with that money.
I would love to see sidewalks.
Yeah. So you don't have to just do that program, but just letting you think.
But sidewalks would entail going into that property line.
It goes into the town's easement, but it's
Right.
the town's property. But yes, it interrupts driveways. It interrupts.
Mailboxes.
Right. But you can possibly do the mobility plan as both, allowing both and surveying the people. I don't know. But just wanted to let you know.
No,
these-
I'm all for options, and I know that I would love to see sidewalks, but there's a give and take on each side, so whatever.
I actually
the majority
don't,
of the people want.
I've never seen it, so I don't know what this really looks like.
Okay.
I've seen, so I want to see it first. So, and I'll share that information, but I wanted you to know what I'm thinking, talking to. Thank you.
Okay, everybody's good. All right, let's move on to council comments. Christie, you got it?
Yes, I want to encourage everybody to come to the barbecue. It's a good food and a great way to connect with your neighbors and meet new people. And one thought I want to bring up to the council, resident called me and asked about parking on the grass. And I just assumed we had an ordinance against that, but we do not. I know in West Palm Beach, for example, they have a strict ordinance against that. I have a couple of rental properties over there, and one of my neighbors was taking to parking on the grass, and I got cited. And and immediately had to move them, and it was all well. Another property, I took the garage and turned it into a master bathroom, which took away a parking spot. And they have a rule that you have to have 2 off-road parking spots. So they wanted me to lay out a new driveway since my existing driveway only served 1 car. I think, I don't know how big an issue it is. I know there are a couple of houses as I drive around that frequently I see a car on the grass. I know we've decided where people could park their boats and their trailers, their RVs. Again, I don't know how big a problem it is, but it seems to me like it is not in keeping with the image, the upscale image of Lake Clark Shores to have cars routinely parked on the grass. Of course, if you're having a party, it's a different thing. So I just wanted to put it out there. And since a resident called and brought it up to me, I wanted to put it out there and see what y'all thought.
I agree. The whole upscale thing, because I know several of them that the ruts are going right through the lawn and
Yeah.
they've now put up a fence behind for the trailer, but the vehicle's back right up to the trailer on the lawn. I always thought it was a code too, that if you were going to do that, it had to have, well, yeah, I know that now.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chrissy. I know that now, but I agree with you. We could always entertain that. That's
And-
one of the things the council can do.
And
They
Christie.
can put that into play.
Yeah, and thank you, Christy, for letting me know what you're thinking. We had this conversation and I looked up because, obviously it's a boating community, so everybody's going to scream at that, right? But you can actually, one community I found just does it for the front yard. So you can't park on the grass in the front yard. So that would take care of the boats and the trailers that might be parking in the grass and they're behind their house. So just giving you options. So if you guys want me to look into it further, I will survey other cities and get more ideas.
When you say behind the house, is it in the back or does the side include? behind the
It's
house?
it's behind the front of the
The property out, the house.
right, the house.
Sixth
The-
building.
Right. I think it was Miami Beach, actually. So just need a consensus if you want me to put it on the agenda for discussion, because it'll take a long time, because if you change the code, it takes 2 readings, 2 months, yes.
Make your motion.
I would like to make a motion that it be put on the agenda for future discussion.
Second,
So moved.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, carries 5-0.
Thank you.
Are you good, Chrissy, or you
I'm
have
good,
more?
thank you.
You good? Okay, Taylor, you're up.
Yes, I just want to thank town staff for everything they're doing to get ready for the barbecue. I know it's a really heavy lift and I'm really looking forward to attending. So thank you for everything that's happening there. And then just on the paving, I know it's coming up in June, but we had discussed communicating to the residents what this plan is and what we're doing in the meantime. So I'm just wanting that to stay on everyone's radar, especially as we're discussing communication, it seems almost every meeting.
Okay.
We had also talked about potentially like making it a system that people could track online, and you said there was issues with that and it could be fairly expensive, but I do think residents need to know what is happening, the status of this paving GIS program that we're. Yes, sorry. Do you want to just respond, Joe, and then?
Sure. The only thing we've done, because it's been on hold because of the barbecue and everything else, but the only thing we've done is reached out to the contractor to see how much all of Pine Tree would be, and we're starting to divide it up to see how much it would be, but we didn't do the survey. That's not done. That's why we wanted to talk about it in June, because it needs time. We need time to develop it. But it was like 360,000 or something to do all of Pine Tree.
Just Pine Tree.
Just Pine Tree.
I think there are some communication points that you can take away from what we're doing and looking into as we move forward month by month.
Okay.
When it comes to paving, it seems to
Okay.
be like top 3 priorities for people in town.
Okay.
So, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, everyone.
Bridget?
I echo the sentiment. Thank you, staff, law enforcement, and the community on all the volunteers going to this barbecue. Stay engaged. I'm happy to be here, happy to help. Anything else I can do, please don't hesitate to reach out.
John?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Staff, thank you. Chief. Us in the back, those who came, thank you. This council, thank you for your continued service night in and night out. Saturday barbecue, first time on Saturday, 1 to 4. Let's come dance to some country music. Bring your best cowboy hat, your best cowboy boots. Let's get her done. It'll be a lot of fun. To those serving in the barbecue, thank you guys for cooking the food, volunteering, and just giving your time, effort, resources for that. I do want to make a follow-up point on the town residents little welcome package. Can we make sure that we add the footprints to this packet somewhere as well? Because our senior community needed to know they have a place to go.
That should be in there. So thank you.
Yep. And then I love the idea of adding Taylor's letter to that too. Can we get that done as well, Taylor? If that's okay.
Yes.
And then as we do this, will that update also show up on the residents page that we talked about on the website?
I'm sorry, say that again?
This is on the website, right?
Yes, it is.
So can we make sure that this is current on the website? And then are we going to move forward with designing that website resident page on the website?
Yeah, he agreed.
Okay.
That was a good idea.
And then the social media update, can we get some updates on that at our next meeting as well, as far as analytics and all that good stuff?
I will ask.
Okay. And then lastly, I know I'm asking a lot. What's the timeline, Joe, on finding out something for the impact fees? Is that something that you think you could have some information for us next month? Or that's like, hey, let me work on this and get it processed, and then we can talk about this in June? Like, what are you thinking? Realistically.
I'm starting the process now. I talked to a consultant because you need to develop a plan. And right now, believe it or not, we're talking about, is it worth it? Because how much growth do we have in the community, and you have to pay for this plan. So
right.
I'm on economics right now.
Okay. All right.
But I asked a lot of questions, obviously, what can we do with the money? And so I'm just starting the process.
Okay. So is it safe to say that maybe we can get some kind of update on that in June and kind of have this all encompassing conversation with Pine Tree, the roads?
I think I can get this before June.
Okay.
I'll have this before June. The other thing, it's a lot of work to finish the survey. You have to survey every street. I mean, it's a lot of work, and obviously I'm not doing it. It's utilities doing it. Remember, we decided to save money and do it in-house, but we'll give updates. We'll try to give updates. Taylor's correct. We can give updates.
Okay, fantastic. Thanks all for coming. I'll see you guys Saturday. Thank you.
Joe, just real quick, since we're carrying about the volunteers, it'd be nice to have them come early, come and see you, come to town hall and put their name in and see where things are needed.
Yeah, a lot of them have. But
what days is the most help needed?
Anybody? Obviously Saturday.
Well, obviously
Saturday's the big one.
Thursday, Friday, because we're moving this.
Thursday's not going to be crazy. So I don't need a lot of volunteers Thursday night, but Friday's really busy. And then Saturday's incredible load.
Plus, we also gained 2 hours.
Yeah.
Setup.
We did 1 to 4, which
yes,
strategically we needed those 2 hours.
Yes, it's nice. I like it. I'm curious to see how it's going to work. It's going to do a good thing. Okay, the last thing I have, since this is apropos with Elliot being here, I have a thing on my wall. I may have said this before. Communication builds bridges, not walls. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.